What's up, guys? This is Courtney, one half of the Breast Deconstruction here, and the first episode in the Power Rangers related podcast for the Power Rangers Month that we're doing is here and live, and I have a couple of guests with me today. Two of them, if you've been listening to the podcast, you have already heard, and you guys are already familiar with. My boy John and my brother Bruce.
What's up?
Yay!
What's up?
So yeah, this first episode is really, really touching, or not touching. It's really, really fitting. It's not going to be touching at all because I expect some. I don't want to hype it up too much, but I expect some very strong opinions to be had and friendships to be tested. Um,
I mean, I'm just meeting John, and I'm related to you, so I don't think the friendship can be tested. At
and
least yet. At
It'll
least
definitely
yet.
be topical.
yeah. So the first episode is going to be Tommy related. So we are going to talk about Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger. And the reason why I say that that's very fitting is because he is hands down the most popular Ranger.
And in my opinion, hands down the worst Ranger of all time.
We're gonna get to that. Jeez, let me at least get through the intro first. Shit, you letting the bazookas round go off like before I even get through with the intro, bro.
You
Chill.
know, I
Let the
have
grenade go.
a very strong negative opinion of only two Rangers, Tommy and Rocky. All right.
That's true. That's very, very true. But yeah, so the reason I say that this initial episode is very, very fitting is because of that. So why not start it out with Tommy? Get it out of the way. Let's get this all out now, and then the other we won't have to do this later on for other episodes for Power Rangers Month. So with that being said, since Bruce and already let the fucking chopper sing, shit. Yeah, I am a very big Tommy fan, my favorite Ranger. But yeah, he's not. I understand why he's the most popular Ranger. I completely understand that, especially with the way that he came in. He was introduced into the series. He's some random kid just transferring to Angel Grove. He gets brainwashed, kidnapped and brainwashed by Rita, given this power. He shows up for the first time and he literally runs the entire team's phase, punches motherfuckers out of the Megazord. Like, just on that alone, I completely understand why he's the most popular Ranger. He came in whooping everybody's ass. I
And
understand
then
that.
to me, everybody remembers like, oh man, he was so badass. But if you go back and watch, he didn't do shit
Yeah,
after that.
yeah,
Complete. It's even in the Green with Evil saga,
yeah,
which is
I think it.
a topic of the Lost Brothers of Deconstruction episode. In the Green with Evil saga, he's not even a main character.
yeah. I realize that.
I think the setup was just really, really good at that time because it wasn't even really that long. How you had like the crew of five, and then like I don't know. And just to get this out of the way, so everybody knows, and so Bruce, like Tommy is my second favorite. I'm diehard Jason before anything.
So I like
So
you.
it was interesting. It was interesting to see. It was interesting to see like someone who was like actually rivaling Jason like on anything. Like the minute Tommy comes in, they're in that karate tournament, and it's just like, okay, who is this dude? Like who's like matching like move for move? And I don't know. I thought it was just cool. Like funny how y'all are called the brothers deconstruction. That Tommy was just deconstructing the Rangers like single-handedly.
Yeah,
Like he was just picking them apart and like being a savage with Kimberly, and then like trying to be friends with Jason. All of a sudden, takes him into the into the other dimension. So it was just things like that I was like, man, nobody yet had hit them like that hard because up until then it was just monsters of the week.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But don't get me wrong, as the Green Ranger, I love the character. Like his intro until basically being thrown into the dynamic of the team, and it shifted Like the way he became second in command and pushed Zach to the back, I was like, all right, that kind of makes sense because he's on equal, if not higher footing, combat wise than Jason. So naturally, but he's still the new kid, and he kept leaving his communicator places.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. Like my thing with Tommy again, like I just said, I'm a very big Tommy is my favorite Ranger. Like, nostalgia, whatever, what have you. Like Tommy is my favorite Ranger. I love the Green Ranger, whatever. But looking back on it, he especially when we end up transitioning into talking about him as the White Ranger and becoming the leader of the team, he didn't fucking deserve it. Tommy as the green, and now granted,
Nah.
I think the reasoning is because of the way that they wrote the character, and the writers did a bad job, in my opinion, of using the story from the Japanese counterpart, because the Green Ranger and Japanese counterpart was dying, therefore he couldn't use his powers. Now,
Yeah.
I understand, hey, you want to translate that over, and that they don't have that much footage of the Green Ranger. So, hey, we need to have reasons for Tommy not being able to morph or whatever like that. Writing him as very, very forgetful and easily kidnappable wasn't the best decision to make.
Like there's an entire episode dedicated to him being forgetful. It's like, hey, we got this assignment that we got to do. Let's say something that we can work on. While he's talking about it, it's like, oh man, I forgot my water bottle. Can I borrow your water bottle? Oh, hey, I forgot my towel. Can I use your towel?
Wow.
And then it's like, oh, what do you think that's wrong? It's like, bro, you're kind of forgetful. It's an entire episode.
Yeah.
And you make him the leader.
Yeah, and you make him the leader of the team eventually. I just looking back on it, I was like, that is looking a little funny in the light.
That was probably the worst kind of moment for me, like, and just as a Jason fan, like there was not, like, they gave us the hurt, like, in all, like, well, not in all one episode, but I guess like in just a few episodes, because I don't know, it was just a weird feeling watching, and I know we're talking about his Green Ranger saga, but like watching him turn into the White Ranger, and then all of a sudden, like, Zordon announces that he's the leader of the Power Rangers. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, like y'all motherfuckers didn't demote me, or like, if I was Jason, I'd be like, what's going on here? Like, wait a minute, like I haven't done anything wrong. Like, the Earth is safe. Like, I'm doing a good job. Why y'all taking that from me?
Like, I get why, because at that point, the actors were basically on their way out.
Yeah.
And you can tell, and it's just a throw-in line that's like, we got to fix this so we can explain why Jason's not there. But as a diehard Jason fan, that hurt my heart. I am still angry to this day. Like, I've met Jason David Frank like 4 times, and every time I see him, just like, you didn't deserve it. Like, you just didn't. It's just,
I don't know if I could go that far telling the actor, but I mean, man, you got some balls on you there.
I'm just like, oh, you
I
didn't
don't know
earn
if I
it.
could do that.
You're good. I mean, you were the definition of what an auxiliary ranger should be.
Yeah.
Like, even though they wrote your character to be an idiot, like, just like it was basically when Jason became the Gold Zeo Ranger.
Right.
He wasn't always around except when you needed him.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything to explain it. They're just like, hey, we don't need Jason yet. But if shit gets heavy, we will call for Jason.
Right.
That's what Tommy should have always been.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's exactly how they should have used him as a Green Ranger, because when it comes down, especially now, granted, he originally wasn't supposed to be the White Ranger, but like, why? Looking back, why wouldn't they have made the decision to be like, okay, yeah, no, let's make Jason David Frank the White Ranger then? Why didn't somebody step up and be like, you think that would be the best idea, seeing as how far he's come? Like, yeah, he's popular, but this wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think it was just a different. I think like it was a different time, like kind of like early '90s, where the actors themselves were just as loved as like the people that were playing them. Like, it was just one of those things. Like, I kind of put it in the mindset of like, I don't know if a lot of people remember like early like 90s TV, but when like Saved by the Bell was like done, and then they brought like a new cast,
Mm-hmm.
Like, or they called it the new class, and it was like all these uninteresting ass people, and you're like, yeah, I don't like any of these people.
Yeah.
Like, why am I watching this show just because it's got this? It ain't even the same show.
Yeah.
Like, the only person is like Mr. Belding.
Yeah.
But with that, they got into their groove because Saved by the Bell, the new class, went on for like 7-8 years. But they kept rotating people out. But they realized that it was like, hey, we need a Zach counterpart. We need a Screech counterpart. We need and they just revamped the show with basically the same archetypes, but kind of remixed them a little bit. And like the first Saved by the Bell new class was not that good, but which ties into Power Rangers because the first successful one featured what's his name, Jonathan Jackson or one of the Jacksons who played Jason's cousin with the Rock Monster, and the worst acting. And I do not say this lightly, the worst acting in Power Rangers history.
Yeah, that's a big feat. That is a big feat.
But they get kind of, and then they kind of got their archetypes correct, which was, let's just have Tommy in the forefront of everything.
Yeah. I like.
Let's just go on to White Light. Let's just do it. We're there.
If we being honest, all right, we're already there, so we might as well just jump in. If we're being completely honest, Billy should have been the White Ranger. Billy, they should have not teased us as like, oh, maybe Billy is gonna get it. Like, no, you did all. And I remember the White Light. I remember watching that, whether it was on syndication and I caught up with it, or whether it was like when it was actually airing. I remember watching the White Light, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's going to be Billy. They're setting it up. And then it's Tommy, and it's just like, bro. Like, as a kid, I was like, oh, yay, it's Tommy, ball. But now, looking back on it, it's like, that was a terrible fucking decision. It should have been Billy.
No, what they should have done, because they did it later in Lightspeed Rescue, like, oh, we're creating a more powerful Ranger. Give it to the leader of your team first. So Jason should have been a #1 candidate, which they did in the comic. There was like, in the Lord Draken's world, it was like, we need a powerful Ranger. Jason's the obvious choice to become the White Ranger. The leader of your team should get the power up first.
Yeah.
Just because. But then it was like, I'm happy being a Red Ranger. Not just because, like, the power level may be weaker, but what it symbolizes to my team. That's a great argument for not taking the power up. Yeah. Then, Billy is, at the time, he was your least gifted fighter. Give him the power up. Yeah. So, you like go through the stages first. It's like, let's just fucking bring Tommy back. Bring it in a second time since his arrival. No, this is the third. I forgot about this. Is the third time he's been kidnapped since he became a Ranger.
Yeah.
He got kidnapped in his first appearance.
Yeah.
He got kidnapped in the Green Candle.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was fighting that shell monster. He get kidnapped to become the White Ranger. And then he gets kidnapped 4 episodes later.
Yeah,
as far as like, if we're like, damn, like now you have me thinking of like all of his failures. Like,
yes,
even the one failure that he had, like remember when they had to give up their coins for their parents, and like it was up to him to get it, and like didn't he fail or something like? Oh no, he did get them, but he was like on the verge of failing.
Yeah, see, for the leadership thing, since with Jason, you actually saw Jason's failure and how it affected him. And his failure was not getting the candle so Tommy can retain his powers.
Yes.
And you saw how heavy that weighed on him. And it played a
like,
part.
He didn't want to go.
No, he was like, the world's in danger, but I have to save my friend's power. And you saw the conflict weighing on him. And then he was like, fuck. And then they bring it back to when the other Rangers' powers are in jeopardy. And you see he's like, I'm not letting this happen again. He didn't. And then when Tommy comes, like when they're doing the whole, like in Return of an Old Friend, and then Tommy's coming back, he's like, I'm just sad that I wasn't able to save Tommy's power.
Yeah.
And then he's like, this is a failure. Like, that's the true sign of a leader. Like, I failed. It's weighing on me. Now I must overcome it. I'm like, that's a great arc. All of Tommy's failures is just like, I'm just going to watch over. Like, I'm going to keep getting kidnapped. Every season Tommy's a Ranger, he's been kidnapped.
Yep.
You can go back and look at all of them. He has been kidnapped.
Yes, he has. Even in Dino Thunder.
He got his powers by getting kidnapped again.
And to be quite fucking honest, to be quite, I know we kind of breezed through White Light, but to be quite fucking honest with Dino Thunder, Tommy should, because of what we've already talked about, Tommy should have been the last person that you would have tried to sell me becoming a fucking professor, a fucking archaeology professor at that. No, I'm not buying that shit.
Yeah, that was a little much.
Absolutely the fuck not.
Yeah.
Like, just absolutely not. Like, even when I didn't watch Dino Thunder when it aired. Like, I kind of checked out a couple episodes and I was like, oh, hey, they brought Tommy back? All right, whatever. But I think I was at that age where I had kind of grown out of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really checking for it like that. So when Dino Thunder was around,
it was nostalgic.
Yeah.
It was nostalgic, but it was like, it wasn't something that like, oh, now I'm going to watch again now that he's back. It was just like, I'll probably catch this episode on Jetix or something like that, but that's about it.
Yeah. And so it was, oh, okay, they brought Tommy back, whatever, you know. But, like, looking back on it, why, out of all the Rangers that you guys could have chosen, you expect me to buy the fact that Mr. fucking forgetful, short-term amnesia over here is the one that went on to become a fucking professor and an archaeologist? No, I'm not buying it. I am not buying it.
I'm going to bring it back to, once again, Green with Evil. So Jason gets kidnapped episode 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see how, like, the Rangers go out and fight, but it's not the same without Jason.
Right.
Like, their field leader's gone. Tommy gets kidnapped as the White Ranger. Zordon's like, okay, so the Zed's Monster Mash is when Tommy gets kidnapped. First full episode as a White Ranger. And then the only reason they notice he's gone is because he was supposed to be meeting them somewhere. And then Zordon literally says, when we find Tommy, we will send him there. Right now, hook up with Jason, Zach, and Trini and fight the monster. You do not feel the weight of him being kidnapped. And then they just happen upon him. Every time he's kidnapped, there's no weight involved. And then in Dino Thunder, he gets kidnapped. The team spends an entire episode looking at videos of former Power Ranger teams. No major threat. It's just that, oh, Dr. O is gone. Hey, in case he knew he was getting kidnapped because he left it in case I get kidnapped video.
Oh, that has to be a form of lap shade hanging. That just has to be lap shading.
So you don't feel the weight of it, and then the one episode or the two-parter where you really feel like it's something is in King Fourdain's deal, where the Rangers just go to rescue him, and then they just end up fighting him. That's the most at stake. It was like he's brainwashing to think he's the king of the machine empire, and then Jason's just like, he's my friend, and I got to get my friend back. I'm like, okay.
So
I'm sorry, I'm going on my hatred tangent, but look at Forever Red when they're leaving, and then it was like, and Cole's like, he really is the greatest Ranger. Then everybody was like, excuse me, let me list off my accomplishment, and you named one of Tommy's accomplishments. Like, and Jason, he was like, I was out saving the world while he was kissing Kimberly at the juice bar, saying, hey, we're out here fighting. And he's just like, I don't got time for this shit.
Trying to get some pussy.
Yeah.
That's absolutely hilarious. Like, look, I love Tommy. I absolutely love him. But it's just like, look, when you really talk about it and you really look back on it, he looking a little funny in the light.
I agree. I agree. I mean, even now, it's just like, man, this dude is like, this dude was like my second favorite Ranger, but y'all are just like, bring him down and be like, well, maybe Zach was the second best.
Yeah,
but,
like, and arguably,
no, I think what. Go ahead.
No, like this is another conversation for a different day, and probably like a shorter episode at that. But arguably, to me, Billy is the greatest Ranger, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, okay.
That's a different conversation.
Think of everything that Billy put forth into the Rangers to the point where every other person who stopped being a Ranger, including Tommy, disappeared. Billy stops being Ranger and they keep him around because he's still valuable to the team, still building shit, repairing Megazords.
Yep.
Like, he's not even a Ranger anymore. And when he was a Ranger, invented the communicator and the teleporter.
Yep.
He basically all he fucking invented a flying car that when a teleportation system is down, yeah, the rad bug will get you to the command center.
Yep. Billy the GOAT, dog.
I mean, okay, yeah. He's a real one. I mean, I won't deny that. And I mean, like, you know, even now it's definitely a different time, you know, with fandom, because, you know, those geniuses and, you know, the techs, you know, they weren't getting their proper due like in the early 90s. Like now I see a lot more Donatello fans because they're like, you know, not to jump franchises, but, you know, they're like, hey, I like this smarter turtle. Like, I like the one who creates new stuff, and he's always like into stuff, and he knows all the answers to stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably the same thing with Billy. Like, while Jason was the leader, how many times in the show would Jason probably ask, hey, Billy, what do you make of this?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
What does this look like to you?
Yeah.
You know?
A good portion
so, I mean,
of their problems.
That's understandable.
A good portion of their problems were solved by Billy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can think offhand a bunch of random shit Billy created to help them. Like that Triceratops mirror, that magnetic thing.
Dude, I knew you were gonna go there.
Like he
was gonna go there.
He invented a magnet to counteract a magnet monster. Like just thinking about, like, you don't know like specifics, like what the invention was, but if you think about Billy creating something, you have a very particular scene in your head of Billy building something in his garage.
Yep.
He did on that mirror with the Triceratops logo on it and with the coin and everything. Yes, he did. He's like, I'm gonna let y'all know this was me.
Yeah.
This was all me.
5 minute sidetrack on why Billy is the GOAT. So, look, this is just a different conversation for a different day. But I think even then, that leads credence to him becoming the White Ranger. Like, look, I get it. Tommy is the most popular, so why not bring him back? But it just would have been a much better decision to choose somebody else besides Tommy. Now, granted, just like with Jason, Zach, and Trini leaving because of behind-the-scenes stuff, they brought JDF back because of behind-the-scenes stuff. Because wasn't the guy for, I was about to say Voltron. What was that damn...
Troopers. VR Troopers.
Yeah, VR Troopers.
Yeah,
I met that guy, dude. He lives here in Dallas. He owns a restaurant. Like,
no
joke. His name's Brad.
Yeah.
Brad Hawkins.
Yeah.
Brad Hawkins was supposed to be brought in as the White Ranger, and Jason David Frank was given VR Troopers.
Yep.
Or it was called Cybertron. Like, there's a pilot out for it. You can watch it. It has Jamie Kennedy in it. But and then the Transformers owns the trademarks of Cybertron, so they just switched the protagonist, and then just like, all right, we're coming back. So.
Yeah.
And then they brought him back to voice the Gold Zeo Ranger. Which, not me, like, you can hear Brad Hawkins' voice in the Ryan Steele narrations. Like, so they just switched it, which would have been even better because then Billy could have taken that just bump into, all right, I'm the leader now. Hell, you could even make Kimberly the leader. Because, all right, Tam, I talk about this in my a video I'm recording to start off Power Ranger Month. When Tommy became the White Ranger, Kimberly became useless.
Absolutely. They nerfed
you can
the
go
fuck
back
out of
and
her.
look
Just
at every
damsel.
fight. Yes, every fight scene you just hear Tommy. So much to the point that when Kat replaced her, she just took over in that role. Just every fight scene, just yelling out Tommy's name.
It's really hard to think about. Like, it's really unbelievably hard to actually sit through and be like, damn, they really nerfed the shit out of this competent ass.
The thing that just like makes it, I don't know if it excuses it, but you know, it's just for the times, you know, because everybody was so big on like relationships and like, you know, not to, you know, JDF was, you know, he's a good looking kid, you know, in the 90s. So, I mean, he was like the poster child. Like, he was like just that dude, you know? I mean, as I'm not trying to take away anything from the appearance of all the other Rangers who were all good looking kids. I mean, that's why the show worked.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was definitely the poster child. Like, man, this is the guy we won't want to put the machine behind.
Oh, no,
you
definitely.
Know, and,
Tommy was the pretty boy.
like
Tommy was the pretty boy out of the group. And and his character didn't even come. They didn't even make his character like the pretty boy in the group. He just was the pretty boy in the group. Like, he didn't play the character as the stereotypical pretty boy for high schoolers in the fucking 90s. But it was just like, if you line up the original 5 out of the group, and even like with the replacement Rangers and everything like that, you're always going to point to if somebody asks you like point out the pretty boy in the group, they're always going to fucking point to Tommy.
It depends on season though, because when Billy loses his glasses, Billy takes over as the pretty boy.
Okay, good point.
And think about not to get back on Billy, but think about this. Think of throughout Billy's tenure on the show. Think about how many chicks he's had. You can even look at his departure as he just got so tired of smashing through every woman on Earth that he had to go to a different planet.
Oh my God.
Lord.
This episode just went so left so quickly. Jesus Christ.
But, you know.
Oh, man.
I'm just saying.
Oh, man.
We don't need to talk about Turbo because Turbo's a travesty.
Oh, my God. Let's
not. We should, because think about his last episode as a Ranger for the Saban era. He gets kidnapped.
Wow. It's all coming together.
Oh my God. I really think they just need to install a tracker on. They should have just installed a tracker on Tommy. Like,
right?
Like this has to. You know what? You know what would be dope? What would be dope is that in the comics, if they somehow like
if he gets lost or
if they somehow like go back and retcon like all of his kidnappings were attempts by Lord Draken. That would make it, that would rectify that for me. That would absolutely rectify that for me.
God.
It would. But I don't know how you got. I was actually gonna ask, you know, what as far as like his legacy and impacts on his character. What do we think about like the 2 movies in regards to like what they did for him as a character?
If we go on,
I don't really go. But
if we're talking about canon, the first movie doesn't matter,
right?
Because you can kind of see glimpses of him being a leader, but it's not expounded upon.
Yeah.
Well, like the closest thing you see is him comforting Kim on what the fuck was the name of that planet? Right before the Tengu's attack.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's just like, it's Thanos. Like I miss. Yeah, Thanos. There we go. But and then I can't say he didn't. And with Turbo, I can't. His leadership was tested. I'm sorry, Courtney, I gotta bring it up, by them introducing Justin. That is trying on anybody. Just like, hey, I'm a Kid Ranger. It's like, how the fuck do you relate to this dude now fighting inside? Like, but Jason came back and then he handed him that fade, and I was fucking happy. I was just like, man, this movie's great.
Yeah, I just think. You know, just thinking about on the first movie, you know, it doesn't really, like, there's nothing that stands out about Tommy's character as far as, like, it developing his character more. Well, like you said, if we're talking canon, that doesn't matter anyway. Now, with Turbo, you know, and it's been so long since I've watched the movie, because I've done that on purpose. But for Turbo, at least there are moments where I remember he has to deal with a fucking kid on the team. Mm-hmm. And they show him like feeling a particular way about having a fucking kid on the team. So at least with Turbo, it's like, okay, you know, it's understandable. Hey, he doesn't want this person on the team because they're a liability or whatever like that. But he still deals with it, and he, you know, makes the best of that situation. So at least with Turbo, it does add a bit. The movie, it does add a bit to his character development. Now, the series, I don't know, because I didn't fucking watch Turbo.
Okay, so the movie dealing with that leadership thing, it makes Adam look a little bit better than Tommy. Now with the series, the series is basically about Justin and Tommy, and then it becomes, then when they do the replacement, then it's TJ and Justin. So for some reason, Justin is just the main character in a lot of episodes in Turbo.
They thought it was going to appeal to the kids. It did not. Hint. It did not. I was a kid when Justin was a fucking ranger. But you can't tell me how mad I was.
But it also, like, but Turbo also takes away from Tommy's legacy when you think about from Turbo and then him returning to Dino Thunder. His brain's like just too all over the place with the hey being destroyed. Let me film, like going back to Mighty Morphin. The world's being destroyed. Let me film this karate commercial instead of keeping my communicator on me. Like no other Ranger in history has just been like, I'm going to do this. Let me take my communicator off. Like you're fucking fighting monsters on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And then you come around, and then in Turbo, it's like, oh, I'm going to be a race car driver. And then you see him in Forever Red, and it's not explained what the fuck he's doing. Apparently, he's getting a team of Rangers, a secret police of Rangers. And then he comes back to Dino Thunder and was like, yeah, I'm a doctor now. I got a PhD in paleontology. Like, where the fuck is your mind? What?
Yeah. He was all over the place, honestly.
Yeah, but and that they did not get a grasp on his character. So while he was technically in more episodes, like the most episodes out of any active Ranger, it just doesn't feel right because there's nothing pinned down about him. It's like this is his character outside of the martial arts.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think did Forever Red was after no, you just said Forever Red was before Dino Thunder. You know the funny thing is that when they did the Super Mega Force Legendary War episode, which we could talk about on an entirely different conversation as well, but it was funny seeing, of course, we knew that Tommy was going to be one of the feature Rangers.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious just in that episode, not only because of all the footage that they used and all the Rangers that they had. Some of them were Tommy. So it was like, how do you have multiple Tommies on the field right now? But it was hilarious. His intro in that episode was him helping the kid by grabbing on the Saba. Why do you have him appearing in the battle as the Green Ranger then? If he like, I get it, he owns both items, but still, you don't lead with that and then just be like, oh, I'm gonna just pop up as the Green Ranger. It's like, bruh, we saw you with Saba. I need the White Tiger to pop up or something.
You can explain the Green Ranger power away, but the White Ranger power is definitely destroyed.
Yeah.
There's an episode about it getting destroyed. Whereas with Green, they clone him and send him back in time. You could have just had that just transition back.
Yeah.
And it was like, he's green. White is definitely destroyed. I'm guessing all of Mighty Morphin except Black, Yellow, and Red are destroyed because while it's established when Cat takes over for Kim that when Kim goes back in time with the Wild West Rangers, it's like two of the same power coins cannot occupy the same time. But when Jason, Zach, and Trini leave, them motherfuckers are still morphed. They still have their powers. Because when it transfers over, you have two Red Rangers, two Yellow Rangers, and two Black Rangers just standing there next to each other.
Huh. Yeah.
But interesting.
I got the video. I will post the video. But how you can't explain, like, Tommy just keeps getting these powers back. Show him his fucking Red Zeo, a power he never lost.
Yeah, that's true. That is okay. That's a good point. At least have him pop up at least have him pop up with the power that he still has.
Yeah. And I don't know. There's just something more dynamic out of all of these legendary Rangers, and the dude who's leading them all is wearing a white suit. You take that helmet off a Red Ranger, it has more impact to me. Yeah. Even if it's Tommy, I'm like, it's a fucking Red Ranger. Right. Like, you got West there, but it's the third Red Ranger in history, but technically the second of a team. And I'm just like, well, yeah, I'm going with that guy. He got some experience under his belt.
Right.
It's like, here's the White Ranger. Like, but has he been the leader, though? You just can't tell that by, like, I know, but you can't tell that by looking at the fucking White Ranger that he's a leader.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. It would have made more impact to anybody in general if Tommy had if the Red Zeo Ranger was leading the team and they took their helmet off and it was Tommy. Because then that probably would have made some people that might have been new or, whatever, been like, wait, he was a fucking Red Ranger? What the fuck? I mean, that could have just been surprising for some people. What do you guys think about like having said everything that we've said already, having poked holes in Tommy's legacy and everything like that, or shined the light on it? What do you guys think about the comics and what it's done for Tommy's legacy? Obviously, the comics aren't canon, but as you know, even it's not like we can't ignore it in regards to Tommy or something like that. But what do you guys think about how the comics have done for Tommy as a character?
To me, I think they've actually, I think they've helped boost up his character to be more likable. Like I will say, like just the character arc that he's had since they started the Boom comics, it made me like fall in love with Tommy all over again.
Yeah.
Because it was just I mean, looking back on it now, as soon as the Green with Evil saga was over, the next day he's all like, "Oh, what's up, guys? High five! Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a cool member of the team." But like looking at it now, it makes perfect sense where they started off and like him having these visions and like these feelings and just the alternate universe. I mean, it's a really cool spin, but I really really dig like them just opening that timeline of like, well, what if Tommy didn't like just become a good guy all of a sudden? Like, what if the dude was like legit, like the most badass villain that they ever faced, which actually makes sense. I know like general Power Rangers fans, they love Tommy being like the sixth member because he's like, oh man, Tommy was so cool because he had he had the dragon dagger, so it was like a specific weapon, and he also had the shield. Like nobody could fuck with Tommy because he has the shield. Like, bro, it's just a shield. Like it was just like it wasn't a big deal to me. But now like seeing like the art that they were giving him, like being tormented and having nightmares, and like they like if anything, the comics just made him that more of an integral part of the storyline, other than just being, oh, he's the guy that will just do it all. Like he's the one that stayed with him the longest, or he went from green to white to Zeo red to Turbo red, and then the Dino Thunder black. He's the guy that's that dependable guy. He's like, oh well, let's make the character's story like worthwhile. I personally love it. I love it. Like it's just cool to me.
Yeah.
For me to expand upon it, like they went more into his psyche, which helps you. Like they gave him the development that he was lacking.
Yeah.
To me,
absolutely,
it's pinned down his character. Like, so it's given him some traits and everything other than, oh, I just want to, save the world, which is good to have for any Ranger. But the fact that there's conflict between him, Jason, and Zach, when it's just like, okay, yeah, you're a Ranger now, and we asked for this, but there's still a level of distrust we have for you, which that's great storytelling to me. Just like, and he's just like, and then he keeps some of the edge that he had when in Green with Evil, when he was just like, I just don't care. And then, but you can see that, expounding upon his past with constantly moving and not being anywhere long enough to make friends. And it's when I was just like, well, this is a solitary character, so I am going to lash out because this is what I'm used to. You got people who want to be my friend with Kim and everything, but then he's just like, but then you got people just like pushing against me. Then you got Billy just like, we have to give them a chance for them to bring all those elements together. And then like, now if you would have done that, because then like later in a comic, Zordon explains to Zach why he picked Jason as the leader, and all of my sayings was before they were Rangers, Zach's the glue to that group, and he was the natural leader because, and they had a dumpster. He's the one who's just like, nah, we're going to bounce, but for that, I forgot where I was fucking going with this. Damn you, brain. But no, it just like you give the psyche, you're giving him the character. Now, if you would have, okay, now I know you've done all this, and you put that in a series, and then Jason, Zach, and Trina are leaving, or you giving them the power and just like, hey, this guy, you guys know what he did to get to this point. I'm going to make him a leader. That would have made more sense than just like he's the more powerful one, so he's the leader now. Leadership role, whereas the Tommy that we got didn't. So you don't have the live action of Jason David Frank just constantly being there helps as well.
Yeah, we had a bit of audio difficulties on some of that statement, but I think most of it, the gist of what you were saying, was understood. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the comic has really done something for the character, just like you two said. It really has added more to the character, and it makes you appreciate him more, especially because the comic started after this whole, like, we're gonna talk about like the action figures and stuff like that. Like they're like toys releasing and this and that, and it just seems so Tommy centric, and it had gotten annoying, and so it was good to see. It was good to go into the comics like, they got this one thing going on, and then you see it leads up to an alternate dimension evil version of Tommy, and it's like, oh, okay, let's see where they're going with this. It could be a little eye roll worthy, but it's like at first, but then it's like, okay, let's see where they're going with this. But now it's like, okay, this dude is all right. I'm with it. But just coming from like the action figures and stuff, it was like, hey, we're releasing legacy items, and it's gonna be Saba. It's gonna be the green, the dragon dagger. It's going to be a Tommy edition Morpher. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. And it's like, yo, there are other Rangers besides Tommy, right? Like, I'm happy that I got my Saba. I'm happy that I got my Dragon Dagger. I'm happy I got my Green Ranger helmet and shit like that. I'm happy about all that shit. But at some point, it's like, yo, stop releasing Tommy action figures, please. Or toy-related items, please. Just for a minute.
To piggyback onto what you're saying, there was way before the 20th anniversary and so on. There is just too much of Tommy out there. It's just like, once again, like, hey, we're bringing a Ranger back to be a fighting mentor. Hey, let's bring back Tommy. But the comic is like, all right, we're focusing on everybody. Tommy's there, but he is not the star. We're focusing on everybody, and then they fucking kill him.
Yeah, that's the thing. They do that, and I was like, whoa, okay, this is different.
And they keep killing him.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I just think it's a different look. It's interesting. What was I about to say? It was something toy related. Crap, I can't remember now. Whatever. John may or may not still be here. I know he was saying.
I'm reading the chat. He's got cut out.
Yeah.
Poor connection. Yeah.
So, yeah. So, regarding the toy stuff, it had just gotten. I really would have liked to have heard John's take on that, but poor connection was the reason why he had to drop out of it. We probably aren't going to be going that much longer anyway, but. Yeah, and even with the new SH figure arts, like release of the White Ranger with, changeable Tommy heads, it's like, yo, I've been waiting on my fucking SH figure arts Shishi Ranger from Die Ranger figure for fucking 3, 4, 5 years, and it's like, yo, where's the fucking figure? Like, I don't care about White Ranger or Tommy as a figure. I already have Green Ranger. That's fine, cool, whatever. Give me Shishi Ranger. Like, I just don't understand. Like, that's all fine and dandy, but don't disrespect me and release a figure that can still be counted as being in the same line that you cancel. Like, you release 2 figures from the Die Ranger collection, don't release anything else, and then all these years later down the line, we get a White Ranger figure who can still be considered being as part of the Die Ranger collection because he was the 6th Die Ranger. Mm-hmm. And then it's like the Tommy edition. It's like, yo, what's going on here? I don't understand. Like, y'all just forget that y'all got 3 other Rangers y'all need to release or what? It was weird.
Yeah, it's like I did the video about the Legacy collection when everything that they were announcing was Tommy related. It's back when they announced the Tommy key set of literally re-releases of keys that have already been released.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That key set, and it was just like, yo, we get it, but guys, you don't need to do a Tommy edition or Tommy collection for everything.
You don't, like they did, and this is when they announced the what was that? When they announced the Saba, the Tiger Zord, and like everything that they were announcing was Tommy related, and I'm like, can you move past this? They announced the movie morph, the white movie morpher, before they even released any other movie morphers, the fucking white and green communicator. And everything that they were announcing was Tommy, and I'm like, can we move past this? Yeah. Like, you've got the Dragon Dagger, you've announced the Saba. All right, now you're announcing all these keys. Like, you released a Turbo key set, a Zeo key set, with these were 3 keys at a time. And, you know, it's just like all Tommy keys. Like, they released like 4 different Green Ranger keys. We had the metallic, like, in the Mighty Morphin set, the Green Ranger came with 3 different sets. And then it's like, hey, it's a exclusive. We're releasing the Tommy key set. And I'm like, yes, Tommy's the most popular. And like people, like, you know, the people who grew up and then who become casuals are like, oh, hey, it's Tommy. Like, that's going to bring them in, but it's not going to sustain the line enough to keep people who already bought this stuff to keep collecting.
Yeah. And I think even then, you know, it's burnout. It's like, yo, people are tired of Tommy everything.
Think about San Diego Comic-Con. Everything that they was like, the Comic-Con exclusive was black and gold this. It was like black and gold Saba, black and gold Dragon Dagger. And I'm like, And then they mixed it up. Like, it was a re-release that's black and gold that worked within the series. The fucking Gold Ranger, Zeo Gold Communicator. I go, that actually works.
Yeah.
Because it's canon.
Yeah.
So, and then I was literally fatigued out. Then it was like, we're moving on. We're releasing. As I was sitting here, I'm looking at my Legacy Zeo morpher. Behind me, my Legacy Zeo Gold Ranger staff. Like, the progression got me back into looking at the series.
Yeah. I haven't gotten the Gold Zeo staff yet. I will eventually. But, it's just, like, Tommy is the most popular. Let's not oversaturate everything, which is really what they were doing. Let's not oversaturate the market by releasing a bunch of Tommy stuff, because at some point it's going to be like, people are going to stop caring and you're going to lose out, because then people aren't going to be interested enough to go get the newest item that you're releasing that isn't Tommy related. I think, what else was I going to bring up about Tommy? We already talked about the anniversary episode of Super Mega Force. We went back to the toys. He talked about the comic. I mean, I think everything that we could have said about Tommy probably has been said. Like I said, it kind of sucks that the bad connection had to make John dropped out, because I would have liked to have gotten his take. But so Tommy, I love the character, especially with the stuff that they're doing with him in the comics. With Evil Tommy, and things like that. And they had the balls actually kill off Tommy.
And then kill him off again.
And so it was, it's interesting to say the least. So, yeah, I think Tommy is great. I love him. But in no way, shape, or form is he the best Ranger. I can fully admit he's the most popular because he is. But in no way, shape, or form is he the best Ranger. And
you can literally make an argument for at least 3 other Rangers to be the greatest Ranger of all time.
yeah, over Tommy. And I really do believe that his intro of, punching Trini out of the Megazord and following that up with kicking everybody else out of the Megazord really cemented his legacy and made him Teflon with like casual fans. Because I can bring it up on Twitter, I can bring it up in just about anywhere. Tommy gets brought up. They're like, oh, he was dope. He was the best one, this and that. And it's like, yo, you do not want to start this conversation because I'm probably the biggest Power Ranger fan, and I probably have way more information that you don't want to talk about.
Like casual, like bring it.
Right. Like if you're casual, no, this is not a fight that you want. It's not.
Like as you can tell from everything that I've laid out, I've been building this argument for years. Just wanted someone who's like, well, yeah, this is the best. Like I was like, oh, all right, sit down, let's have this argument.
Right.
Let's talk this out. You do not, as they say, you do not want this smoke.
Right. Like, yeah, let's go ahead and have this discourse because it is one that you will be leaving from with a changed mind. There is no other way around it. Yeah, that's how I feel. Again, I love everything. I love the character. I have gotten a little worn out, burnt out with him. I do think the comic is doing something great though, and I firmly believe that just give the character a break with like certain items being released, and even for the people who are casual who grew up with it, who are just casual fans, because there are plenty of people who are my age that was like, hey, Mighty Morphin is the best one, and that's the only one that they've watched. They just didn't think anything else. They saw the second, they saw Zeo, they saw Turbo, whatever like that. And it's just like, it's not the original, so I'm not going to watch it. Which is fine. That's absolutely fine. But then it's like, yo, I have reasons for the way that I feel. These are the reasons. So it's...
and then I also think with the transitioning from like Zeo to Turbo, Mighty Morphin to Zeo, when none of the original 5 are there, or like as Rangers, but Tommy is, that kind of draws people back. Because yes, while as you can say, like Tommy's the most popular Ranger of all time, he wasn't enough to keep people interested to transition with it. At least to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that. Those are the thoughts on Tommy so far for this first episode of the BoDcast for Power Rangers Month. We'll get some more stuff out. We have some more episodes coming, of course. We just gotta get some people together and get them done. But yeah, leading up to PMC, so we'll have more content out, and we're still going to be doing regular content for the channel as well. And we also have some other videos, Power Rangers related videos coming out on the channel as well. So look forward to that. And we'll catch up with you guys later. You got anything else you need to add?
No. This will probably be this is the first video or the first thing we're putting out for Power Rangers Month. So later on in the day or in this week, I will be putting out, which is a fitting video, my Why I Hate the White Ranger video.
Yes.
So that will be my first solo video. So look out for that later in the week. And yeah, we'll be trying to hit you with as much content weekly as we possibly can.
Yeah, leading up to PMC. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more traction, and we'll get a little bit more attention for it, and people will find something that they like. Again, I'll be uploading the episodes to YouTube. I'll be putting them on Google Play, and then I'm gonna look into getting it put up on iTunes. Right now, it just seems like it might be easier to do Google Play. So yeah. With that being said, we'll catch up with you guys later. Peace out.
Have a good one.